hello. How y'all doing today?
All right. Hey, everybody.
Hello.
I am so excited because we're about to talk about the video I've been watching. I think I watched the video at least 30 something times now. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about the Montgomery Riverfront Brawl that happened and went down on Saturday. And I know we've sat back, we did a little talk before we started, but we did a little homework that talks a little bit in detail about some of the history. And we'll get into that here in a little bit. But first thing I want to do is ask, when you saw the video for the first time, what was your first thing that came to mind?
My first thing, and I'm serious when I say this. Whenever they actually started jumping on that man, in my heart I felt like he was gonna get some help that day. I felt like this is the day. You're gonna learn today. That was you're gonna learn today.
When I watched the video, I was glad it was fists and not guns. It showed our intelligence. It showed intelligence. The reason why it's not being talked about is because it showed intelligence. We didn't grab nobody. In Montgomery, of all places, they stood up and they fought alongside. It showed a hole in the whole system. And for me, human beings, we are creatures of habit. And that's not the first time they've done that. Then you do your research, you'll see there's a history of misconduct. And it just that day was their karma.
So the first thing I thought was, a lot of times, you guys, I'm gonna be honest, I don't watch the fighting videos. So I was like, I'm not pro-violence, but when I saw them attack that black man alone by himself, all I thought was, Lord, please let somebody help him, because they could have killed him. They could have really hurt him, and they were stomping him, and it was a very unfair fight. But baby, when I saw Aquaman, the little guy swimming, I said, oh man, it's about to be on. The man done swam to the fight. So I'm not gonna lie, in many ways, I was proud, because I was like, we for once didn't just stand by and be bystanders and watch something occur to one of our fellow Black people. So many times it's the police and we're not able to get involved for fear of being shot or killed or tased or hurt. So for once we were able to actually intervene, like Eric said, intelligently and fight. Because that's what it boiled down to. So you get what you get. It was an unfair fight to begin with, and then they, so I was proud. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not pro-violent anyone. I'm about the violence, but I'm one of those people. If you send for people, you get what you get.
Right. And I'm gonna say this. I know I came in from the wedding, and I was posting the videos and stuff from the wedding I did on Sunday night. And I saw this video pop up, and the first thing caught my attention. It had 13.7 million views, and this was Sunday night. This happened Saturday. It had 13.7 million views, and I was like, "Well, dang, what's this video all about for it to have 13.7 million views?" So I clicked on it and watched it, and at first, I'm like, did someone try to remake the Black Panther movie? I was like, what was really going on? So I said, let me go back and look at this again. And I had to watch it 3 times because I was like, like you said, I was proud because I was kind of upset when I saw the man, he was getting jumped and everything. But when, like I said, when they kept pointing out, and that little red arrow kept pointing out that little kid, that 16-year-old was swimming across, I said, oh, snap. I said, it's about to go down. And then when those dudes jumped off the boat, in my head, I had my own soundtrack going on in my head. I said, oh, knuckle if you buck if you want to. He was about to go down. So all these songs, I'm a DJ, so all these songs, I'm putting together my own soundtrack with this video. I'm like, oh, yeah. And then it's funny because later on, everyone started putting the same songs in my head. They start putting them out in the video. So to me, it was like, it was just like, it was almost like Juneteenth all over again. It was almost like Black History. It was almost like it was like a celebration. It was just like that moment. It did like even the Avengers, that moment where the Avengers raised up and kicked out. I mean, it was just all those in one, and it was just exciting to see how we came together and stomped out that evil that pretty much has been brought to this world from crazy people. And that's how I felt. I ain't gonna lie, I was proud. I was proud as hell. I was like, shoot, I was like, I'm about to go look. I'm about to go flag bar. Look, I'm about to go outside and yell and scream. I had caught the Holy Ghost. I was like, whoo. I said it was on. But I mean, one of the things that people and see me, I was like, there had to be some history.
Yes.
There had to be some history for this family to think they can just get away with what they did, because like this was a person of authority. All he did was move your boat a couple of feet.
Mm-hmm.
He did something that technically he helped y'all out.
Mm-hmm.
And he moved your boat a couple, but this family has had a history of terrorizing this port, this location over the years. And then even like I said, if y'all go back and y'all look at that interview with the captain of the boat in detail, the captain kept saying that there's been, first thing he said, it's not racial. He says we've always had problems with these people. He said this particular family comes down every summer, and they cause problems every time they come. They feel like, and he even said it. He says that right, they think that they have that white privilege, where they can just come in and do whatever they want. Mm-hmm. And I think what is that they've gotten away with it over the years,
mm-hmm.
and to where they thought they can do it again.
Yeah.
And if you listen to the lady that was talking, she said her and I quote, they're not even supposed to be parking there. They're not supposed to be parked there. So that alludes to they've been told about this before, and he's going out there to let them know once again, you got to move. You're not supposed to be there, and they took it personal, and that's what happened. See, it's all fun and games. If the white guy would have got the best of the black guy, it'd have been fine. But since he got the best of them, then everybody want to jump in. No, that's not how life works.
Yeah.
You have to take a L. You have to take sooner or later. You got to take a L. Me, you, Tish, and Stella. We had to take a L. That's a part of life. But they decided that no, we're gonna do this, and then it was just too late. And then one of the twin powers activate, and that's what happened.
And then that was also an example of being the villain and the victim, because the young lady that was on the boat being the narrator, she was on point. And whenever and so the white women, they was jumping in and they was getting some little hits and stuff like that, and our people was not discriminating. Okay, you want to hit me? Boom. You know what I'm saying? So then it's not funny when she got thrown in the water,
The one man went and jumped in the water so he could stop getting beat up.
Right.
He was like, I'm gonna go jump in the water.
Yeah, actually, it was two of them. Both of them did. So the second one that came in, because it was the older man that started it, and then the second one, the 20, I think he was like 27-year-old, was the one that. And see, what was funny to me was the young one. I guess he was the younger one. He actually did try to break it up at first. Mm-hmm. But when he jumped back off that boat, he should have just stayed on that boat. But when he jumped off that boat, he got his butt handed to him.
Yeah.
And I think that's the way. So they both wound up jumping in the water just to get away from that butt kicking.
Yeah, because the older gentleman, he was 48. Somebody was 25 and 23.
Right.
So and like when the black man, it was one-on-one at first. Mm-hmm. They decided to trump him.
The 27
they could have left it one-on-one, like it was a fair fight.
Yes.
But and it wasn't like y'all said, it wasn't just the guys, the women was out there hitting too.
Right.
When they thought they had him by himself.
Yeah.
Right. That's what I was so scared for that man's life. Let me put emphasis on that, because the way they were kicking him and hitting him, they could have killed him.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh no, not again, another black man that's going to get, killed on TV or recorded and it's going to go viral. This man is going to get killed.
And that's what caused everybody to come. That's what caused everybody to come, because not on my watch.
Nah, Eric, that was that bat signal when he threw the head up in there.
Hey, he hit him with the hootie hoo.
Yeah. So, right. So from now on, if you see the head in the air, that means come on by. We got some action. We got to take care of it.
Yes.
And I watch body language. I watch body language. The look on the guy's face that was driving the boat when he realized there wasn't a car and that boat wasn't gonna pull on like he wanted to. I'm just gonna have to go on and take this L. He just look on his face like, oh man.
And then the part where I said that becoming the villain and the victim, when the police officers came, you see the two white women and there was another white guy. They started crying and the black girl, the narrator, she's like, oh, don't cry now. She said, no, y'all started all this. Y'all was actually part of that. So they crying like they was a victim. You know what I'm saying? They kill me with that. How you gonna start something, but then all of a sudden now, because somebody's getting the best of you or there's retaliation against you, now all of a sudden now, oh, I didn't mean it that way. You know what I'm saying? That no, it don't work that way. People tired.
Well, I would say this is like when I saw, I'm not sure if y'all noticed how where the dude with the chair, after he hit that woman with the chair, you notice when the police went to go get him and that one white lady tried to come up and say something to the police officer and the police officer just pushed her off to the side.
Yeah.
She fell back.
Yeah.
I about died laughing. I mean, but
I
then,
did laugh.
but
Yeah,
if you go back and there's like 3 different angles on the video. If you notice, the police officers were just standing there watching from a distance what was going on. So that lets you know. And then if you go back and then you listen to the actual the chief of police. They were out to put some charges on them people. They were out to get them for everything. And
you know why? Because they embarrassed them. This is what happened. They embarrassed them. It went viral. So they had to do something. They had to do something. It forced their hand. That's why you haven't heard anything else about it, because they've been doing this and you did nothing. You even convinced the court to not press charges, and look at what happened.
Yeah.
But see, homeboy, they didn't really step in, and I understood why they stepped in when they did, because when homeboy went postal with the chair, then I ain't never seen nobody hit people with chairs like that. That was something. I'm like,
look, I'm telling you, I thought it was.
He's a wrestling fan.
He was handling that chair like it was a switch. Last time I seen moves like that is when you ever, I'm not sure, get hit with a switch. He was hitting it like that man, like he was like a switch.
But y'all, did y'all see? There was another video. Did y'all see where one of the black guys actually did a wrestling move?
Yeah. He said.
He picked him up and he came.
Yeah.
Well, the 16-year-old,
the Aquaman, the little 16-year-old, he done picked up.
He picked up that guy, double his size, and just slammed him.
And here's something else. That they got that's on the table. I don't know if y'all caught on to this. There's an influencer in New York, black guy, wanted to give back to the community, and it got out of hand. So they want to arrest him for inciting a riot. He didn't incite no riot. He was trying to give back.
Trying to give away.
People got out of control. That's not his fault.
Well, yeah. But see, at the same time, though, the stuff that he did, he didn't notify the police department that he was going to do something like that.
Yeah, but still, inciting a riot by definition, that's what happened at that port, and that's why the police that's why their hands were tied. They were forced to do something because that's what you did. You incited a riot by definition. You jumped on him, and everybody on that boat decided that they wanted to get something in. See, it's all fun and games if somebody hit their head or one stump and his life is gone. Oh, he was a good man.
Exactly.
He's a good man. Don't let this one thing hold him back. He shouldn't go to jail. Let's just settle out of court.
No, they messed around and found out that day is what they did.
They sure did.
So they say, you can start something, mess around and find out. That's what they did. And see, people were getting offended when people were posting and saying we're not our ancestors. What people meant by that wasn't that our ancestors didn't try to fight back or they were weak. That's not what was being insinuated. No. Meaning we're not our ancestors. we can all come together. Y'all can't go hang and lynch us after
like
we
they
do
did
this.
back then, right?
Right. So
Yeah.
that's what I took the "we're not our ancestors" comment.
Right. You can't treat us the way you did back in the
Right.
day.
You
Right.
can't do that and you can't stomp this man down like this and get away with it and think that we're not gonna come and help him. That's what I saw. Because our ancestors were sometimes between a rock and a hard place.
Yes.
They didn't have, they wanted to fight back.
Nobody
They
on
all
their
wasn't
side.
on
Right.
their side.
But the law was against him, though. If they would have fought back, the law was against him. The law is
And
now.
that's sad. That's sad. They had water hose. They put the dogs on them back then.
Right.
Water hose,
Guns.
everything.
Yeah.
Spinning their face. Like it just to actually just I told my husband, I said I wrestle with this so much, guys, because anybody that knows me and that's in my life know I'm just a very compassionate. I love hard. I love people. And just some of the things that our ancestors went through and what they did and what they still try to do, it just turns my stomach, because I'm like, and then y'all have the audacity to try to sit here and make it seem like Black people are just these thugs and these cruel, evil people. No, y'all are sick individuals, because of some of the things that y'all throwing our babies, using our babies as alligator bait. You know what I'm saying? Standing there hanging our Black people and y'all laughing while they standing from a tree, burning up. They put their bodies on these little roaster things and turn their bodies while they was roasting. Just crazy stuff, guys. And it's like, and I'm like, how can somebody just how can you just do that and just stand there? And I think that's okay.
How can you jump one man and it was a fair fight? It's the same mentality of, our privilege will get us out. Well, your privilege ran out that day. Right. And I think the police, like Mario was saying, the way they stood back, they wanted them to do as much as they could so that they could charge them as much as they needed to. Because had they broke it up too soon, they wouldn't have been able to charge them, throw the book at them. Yeah. And, we have to all realize that there's a judge and a jury. It's not always, whatever we do, we have to pay for it. And that day, like I said, I'm not a promoter of violence, but they got what they deserve. They were asking for every one of those licks, whether it was the chair, whether it was the throat, and they were asking for that, because there is no way you idly stand by and let someone get their life stomped out of them. That just doesn't make, I don't know where they thought that they were going to just get away with that. And so now what happens is it sets the precedent for you. Don't do that.
Right.
Don't do that, because now you see we're not our ancestors. That's what that comment meant. We're going to come in and we're going to help each other.
Right.
Period.
And one of the things I want to make sure people understand, like say, if you do your homework, for people who haven't done their homework, we all know the 25-year-old, the store owner of the store in Selma, pretty much was more so, he made it very clear he was a racist individual. A lot of his posting, he was already a racist before this event even took place. But then in the video, when it first popped off, when he ran away and he went up the stairs, he was talking to some of the Black people saying, "Oh, I had nothing to do with this," or blah, blah, blah. "That's my boat," and blah. He was trying to run off his mouth. And the dude was like, "Dude, go hit on somewhere with that." Because at that point in time, he was just trying to change he was just trying to change the story to make it seem like he was the victim in the situation. And to me, it's like, and then like I said, because when they start pulling all the pieces together, just like they pointed out, there was a Trump rally that took place 24 hours prior to this happening in Montgomery. The store owner, which was the 25-year-old, one of the ones that got a warrant for his arrest, he was one of the main characters in this situation. And of course, if you do the research on him, he's a racist individual of all the stuff. They got people coming in his store promoting the Klan in his own store. He didn't, and then he made it very clear he don't want the black dollar. And and he got, he was just saying he preferred to have the white. What was it? I can't remember exactly how he said it, but he preferred to have the white power or white something dollar versus the black dollar. And these are all the comments that was going on with his store. So now you fast forward, this situation happens, and then some people are trying to say it's not a race thing, but in reality, it is a race thing. I mean, people don't see it that way. I mean, right there's such thing. There's a right and wrong, but there is some race behind this situation.
Oh, obviously, the way they, because if that would, you can't tell me the way they jumped on him. They had no value for that man's life. They didn't even like immediately. My mind went to, please don't kill this man. That's where my mind went. I watched that video over and over because they could have brain damage, gave him a concussion, anything. They did not see him as a human being in that moment. Right. And that's what hurt me the most, to see the lack of compassion. When I look at people, I don't see color, I see actions. So if you are ignorant black person or ignorant white person, you just ignorant. You know, so you cannot change a mindset in a moment. That in that moment shows you who they are. People say alcohol bring out who people really are. You know, there was alcohol involved. Right. You know, that festered into who they were. They thought they had an opportunity to do something and there wasn't going to be consequences because there hadn't been consequences.
Right.
But it proved like.
Hello, I'm Carrie.
Hey, Carrie.
Good evening.
I was talking to Sal about this. It also proves a vital point what I've been talking about. Let's put the guns down and put our thinking caps on. See, when you don't respond the way they want you to, then there has to be a response. Mm-hmm. And that's what happened. See, there were no guns, there were no weapons, period.
What, a chair? The chair is still a chair.
Yep.
Even though nobody was sitting there.
Look, no matter if you're swinging in the air, look, you gotta say the rest of the song. No matter if you're swinging in the air.
It proves that once we put the guns down and we put our thinking caps on, they have to respond. And if they have to respond, they're confused because they want to be the victim and the villain at the same time. But since we didn't respond the way they expect us to, they have to give answers. They have to give answers. And now, see, when no guns was out, nobody was killed, see, and then it all come out, you so quick to say that Eric had a felony when he was 15. But see, now you got a history, their own kind, saying that, hey, we got a history. So what that captain is saying, his undertone is, why are they still able to come here? Exactly. We've been having a problem with them for all these years.
Absolutely. And what you're saying, Eric, I mean, there was actually someone posted a speech from Malcolm X. And what Malcolm X was saying is the moment that Black people realize what's really going on and we come together and one attack on one Black man's attack on all of us, it's going to be hell for the other side. I mean, and like I said, he posted his hopes. I mean, I'll go back and tag you in on the video, but it was like Malcolm X explaining the point that once Black people understand that we are powerful if we work together.
Yes.
Then
the most powerful thing on the planet.
We're the most powerful thing on the planet.
Because I think it was me and you, Tisha. I was talking and I said, and I'm telling you right now, I could have been walking by and I would have been fighting with some white boys. I promise you. I wouldn't have stood, even as a woman.
No way I could have stood by and watched them.
I would have got hit. They would have got hit. We would have just been passing licks. You know what I'm saying?
I can't run fast no more, but I can walk. Real brisk.
He walk expeditiously.
Hey.
Look, expeditiously.
You know, T.I. said it best. Like, no, the answer is not to fight. The answer is not to shoot. The answer is to stop spending. He said, stop spending for 24 hours and see don't they answer you. Mm-hmm. This is what you have to change with the time. This ain't the time for violence. This is the time of not spending. Do not spend and watch they don't sit there and talk to you.
And you know what's sad, guys, is that it's all on video from so many different angles, so many different people, phones and stuff like that. But I guarantee you that they still going to come up with a lie. They're going to still try to say, you know what I'm saying? Even though we saw what we saw, they still, because they so privileged, so they think and they still gonna come up with something. Just like the women, they was crying, and she was like, "Ma'am, what you crying for now? What you crying for now? Y'all didn't have no remorse or no feelings for this guy on the ground that y'all was kicking and punching and stuff. You know what I'm saying?"
Well,
but here's the thing, though: some stories can't be spun, and that's the power of the video. That's why we've gotten convictions and things here late, because before there wasn't a video, there wasn't proof. You can go and look at this thing from any angle. Bottom line is, they incited that brawl. Through jumping on an individual man, because people sat there and watched it. If you look at the angle of the young man, the 16-year-old boy, he was on that boat, that ferry, watching. Like, wait a minute, I know they not about to, they all agree to jump in. So you can see it like processing through people's mind in real time. Like, wait a minute, they all jumping. Oh, no. So again, what's the lesson here we have to all remember is, when history tries to repeat itself, we have to make sure that we don't repeat it in a way that we set ourselves back 10,000 years.
Yes.
And so what I think what's going to happen, even if they do try to victimize or be a victim in this situation, you got too many eyes and ears.
Yes.
It's too exposed now.
Yeah,
so
not in cleanup mode.
Right, because if you look at anytime something gets changed for us, it has to be mass exposure like this. It's never a change in something simple. So those men, that whole family didn't need to be arrested before. They didn't need to be held accountable before, because now they were being given chances, what they thought off of their privilege, to get it right. Because see, God is still a God. He's still present. He's still omnipresent. I don't care what we do. Karma is real. We all have to pay for stuff. They had an opportunity to correct their behavior. They chose not to. Right. So now again, what history shows us is, even for who comes for your bad can be used for your good. So this is an example, and Carrie posted it, that we do stick together, that we can stick together.
And we should.
Right, and we should, and see what happens when we do. Maybe we needed to be reminded of that in this as well, what sticking together looks like. And then I'm going to reach across the aisle to our white counterparts, what it would look like if they stick together with us, if we were all together. Because at the end of the day, we all bleed red. What would have happened if somebody else from the white side of that would have took a different stance and not have been that ignorant to jump this man? See, there's that conversation too, because all white people aren't bad, just like all black people aren't bad. But at the same time, bad behavior is bad behavior.
Well, see, and the thing is, then we take it even one step farther, is that the boat had already been moved. They had already moved the boat.
Right.
So what the problem was, it was corrected. So for them to act crazy because this guy moved your boat 3-4 feet just so the big boat can come in, that by itself defines that at this point they need to throw the whole entire criminal book at them. Because it was like, dude, all he did was move your boat. He didn't do no damage to your boat. He had no issues with your boat. All he did was move your boat 3-4 feet down so another boat can come in and dock itself, because you was already illegally parked your boat.
Yes.
Right.
So you was already in the wrong. And so the thing is, nothing had to happen. Like, and then go back to where the captain didn't want to call the police on them because he knew they had been drinking.
That's the problem, though. With you don't give them no pass, though. You
Again,
right.
All of this is going to be exposed now with
because how many passes did they get? Okay,
exactly.
They didn't want to call the police on him, but then when they saw how, as soon as he jumped on him, that's when the captain called the police.
But pause a minute, though, Mario. When you talking about moving the boat, he didn't just move it and was arrogant about it. He was explaining it.
Right.
You can see his hands pointing at the other ferry boat, saying this needs to. You could see him saying, "Hey, this needs to come here in this spot." He was actually explaining it. He really didn't have to explain nothing.
No. Well, see, in reality, if he was to push that mug out push it out to the river,
that they could do.
He could have done that, but he didn't do that.
They need a boat tow truck. That's what they need.
Right. That's what they because
They
see
need a
me,
boat
if I
tow
was
truck.
working that port, his boat would have been floating somewhere down the river. I mean,
Yeah.
that's
And
just
see-
because like you gonna park in our spot, and then and then the thing is, the captain said they went on the large intercom and kept asking them to move their boat numerous times.
It just
So
don't make no.
it's like before he touched that boat, he called on the intercom at least 2-3 times saying, "Please move your boat." Then after they didn't move the boat, then he said because he didn't want to call the police because he knew they'd been drinking because he knows their
Don't
history of the
matter.
family.
They are.
But you're
So
not
it's like
supposed to drink in
they're
boats.
really trying to work with them across
That's the
the board to
problem.
make
That's
sure
the
they didn't get in trouble. Then he sent his first mate, which the gentleman was the first mate. So he sent his first mate, and one of the other crew members was a white boy who was 16 years old. They try to jump on a child.
I saw that. Yeah.
They try to jump on a child because the child was just standing there.
Yeah.
And so they go over here, they move the boat, they tied the boat back up. Now, again, if it was me, that boat would floating down the river, but they did the right thing. They tied the boat
And
off
explained it.
and explained to them.
You come up aggressive. I mean, they came in hot.
Yeah, because you had
Oh,
the
they were
men,
drinking.
the women, the one woman was running down, the older woman, because she was the one, I guess she's the wife of the older guy. They come running down like someone of them broke into their car or something. I'm like, you know what? They went way and beyond to do the right thing in a wrong situation.
And to
And
de-escalate. Right.
To de-escalate the whole situation. And then you're still gonna jump on the dude. And I'm like sitting here thinking to myself, like, you know what?
That was in them.
They should have got that butt kick even more.
To go even further, the port is at fault, whatever you want to call it. The port is at fault too because they've been given too many chances.
Yes.
That's
Way
your
too many
fault.
chances.
That's your fault.
I mean, my thing is that when they and see, this is the part that got me when they said that this same family has been causing problems at that port.
Yeah.
The captain said the last time they were there, the golf cart that they normally use to shuttle seniors back and from the boat, this family took the golf cart, drove it to the hotel, and parked it in the lobby. And the police talked them out of pressing charges against this family. So
There
this
you go.
family
So
had
they-
All of
Right
this
across
needed
the
to
two.
be exposed because what was going to
Yeah.
be the next thing? See,
Yeah.
so when you keep going and going again, for some reason in America, it's an American problem. Stuff has to get this big in order for us to start putting restrictions on everybody. You know, because let the truth be told, we already know anybody of a different race wouldn't be getting away with stuff like this for this period of time. So you get comfortable in your privilege. And so something now, this is going to be a good thing for the people there in Montgomery because at that port, because now there's going to be rules put in place, trust and believe that, where that won't be happening again. And there'll be citations. They need to get all that under control because again, it needed to escalate in order to get to a resolve.
Right.
Because if they torturing those people, you know they torturing the normal people that are visiting. Imagine that just was not just no isolated incident.
No, and it was gonna escalate. If they didn't get caught now, it was gonna escalate even further because you say you don't want to call because they've been drinking. They was drinking the last time. They're drinking and boating. That's a DUI. That's a DUI. So if they got a port where all the boats are, shouldn't it be police on the boat patrolling the place?
But see, here's the thing too. Think about it. When that attorney down here in South Carolina just got into all that trouble. Remember everything, his wool came off from his son driving a boat drunk and killing a girl. And remember, they covered all that up at first. The same thing was going on with that family, where it just kept escalating because there was no accountability. Even though they were killing and driving the boats and killing each other, the bottom line is anytime you let someone get away with one thing like that, it just snowballed. What was it? The Murdochs, or whatever down here in South Carolina. It all started with them driving the boat drunk. So you would think after all of that, there would be rules in place that are people being held accountable with these boats, but obviously not. So that's something that probably needs to be looked at across the board, because they're not the only family driving and drinking on a boat.
Right.
Well, it's supposed to be a patrol there, and like I say, it's setting a bad precedent. That's exactly what it's doing. You are giving somebody else a get out of jail free card, because all they're gonna say in their right was, you didn't say nothing to Mario when he did it.
Exactly.
But I want to say, did y'all also pay attention to the media? Did y'all pay attention to the media on how the media? I sat back, and this was one of those trial periods to where I looked and paid attention to all the news channels that report news. CNN didn't touch this story.
Nope.
Until, was it yesterday? This happened on Saturday, Sunday, Monday, but CNN didn't touch this story until Tuesday. Fox, for the first time, I noticed Fox couldn't spin this story, because you know how Fox like to put a twist to it. But if you pay attention to the media,
the way they report it,
I mean, that's one
lack
part
of reporting.
Just that one part of it. But if you notice, out of the clear blue, the media was flooded with all types of things going on with Black people doing bad things. Out of the clear blue, now you're going to start talking about the 6-year-old that shot his teacher. Now, out of the clear blue, you're going to talk about these false stories that took place with Black people in Supreme. It's like all of a sudden, all the bad things Black people have done resurface at the news at the same time. This was going to kind of like to drain it out, to draw, like kind of like to kind of like balance out the scale. If you go back and just look at the just Google, if you Google Montgomery Riverfront Brawl, and then click on news, and you'll be surprised of all the other stories.
Of course, because they're used to us getting distracted.
To distract us, to drown it out, to say, oh, well, this happened, but look at all these other things that happened. And that's what it made me sick to my stomach, because that's why I stopped watching CNN, because CNN is just getting bad as Fox News.
Yes.
They're just getting as bad as well. So it's kind of like, it's like the only thing that's working in our favor was social media.
Exactly.
Social media now highlights the truth more so than the media does.
Yeah.
Because we get to commentate and tell our own story.
Right.
And you think about, that's what's been driving. If it wasn't for social media, we wouldn't have the George Floyd, the Breonna Taylor. We wouldn't know about any of those incidents if it was not in the young man down in Savannah running. That all that stuff was suppressed, especially young man in Savannah running. His whole thing had happened, months. They knew about it months. It had been suppressed. So the good thing is that we are becoming unafraid to speak up and say things. The second thing is we need to stop being distracted.
Right. Well, and that's what and what you see in the news. I mean, in some cases, you got to disregard what you see in the news, because most of the time now they're all about. They're not about telling the truth. They're all about trying to make money. Yeah.
You got to.
They're all about making money.
And when I say we, I'm speaking about Americans, period.
Right, absolutely.
Black, white, orange, green, polka dots. If one person is hurting, we need to all realize on the level that we're on, we're in this together. Ain't no hierarchy, lowarchy in the middle class level. And I wish people would let that theory go. If you're not rich, then you're poor. That's how they look at us. And so while we're sitting up here trying to stay divided on that level, and that's what was disheartening too. Dudes, y'all ain't no better than that man who was trying to talk to you. Stop thinking that you're better than just because you've been getting away with stuff. Right. We gotta let that go, because we're getting spun into looking like the bad people all the time. But I will hold us accountable as Black people too. We gotta stop killing each other and dragging each other in the mud. I mean, we got to look at our behavior too. So I also from this video took away and said, as what would be considered an elder in the community now, what am I giving back to the younger generation for them to understand how to fight and speak up and be advocating for things that are right? Because a lot of times we're in environments where we don't speak up. I will say that in corporate America, we're silenced a lot in those environments. So I've always been an advocate for, I don't care what color you are, right is right, wrong is wrong. There's no color there for me. And I'm going to speak up if I feel discriminated against or if I see someone else. A lot of times we'll turn the deaf cheek or the deaf ear or the blind eye as long as it doesn't pertain to us. Why does it have to be something where it's only violence where we stick up for each other too? We need to change that narrative.
Well, and Mario can attest to this. That's all fine and good, but when you in when for the Army, I can't speak on other services, but when you're in the Army, you have to make a choice, and you have to think about that choice. It wasn't a second thought for me. I'm for right. I'm for right. I'm for the soldiers. So doing that, just like in corporate America, it makes you a black sheep. They tend to overlook you. They want to break you to pull you over to that side. But since you went to the side of right, they just want you to think that you're on their side. They just want to break you. So you have to make a decision. You have to make a choice. And it wasn't a choice.
It's not always easy.
Yeah. I used to tell my wife a lot of time, I'm in there cussing and fussing. Because if it ain't right, it's wrong. If it ain't right, it's wrong. I don't care who you are. I don't care how long you've been doing the job. There's a way to say, okay, well, I didn't know I was wrong. I respect you more. But it's and the biggest thing with society now are distractions. Even in the Army, they'll when somebody mess up, they throw a distractor up there. So you gonna go, ooh, look at the light. That's why they made upper class, middle class, and lower class. When in reality, ain't no such thing.
Ain't no such thing.
You said, if you rich, either you rich or you poor. It's just a middle class is a distractor, so you not to realize that you ain't rich, you poor. And that's why the distractor didn't work for this, because the proof is in the pudding. You can bring up all the bad history you want. It's still that big blunder they made still bleeds through. No matter how much primer you put on there, it still shot. Their true color still came through. And we have to be mindful of the distractors. Every time something happens, ooh, look at the light. That's what they do every time. And
that's why I don't watch the news as much as I used to, because for me, I understand it's persuasive. It's according to, they're narrating according to what rules and regulations they have in place to regulate. I read for myself. I go research for myself. When people are talking to me about tough topics, I don't argue with people anymore. I said, did you get it from the news or did you read it for yourself? Where did you get it?
Absolutely.
So anything that you need to know, you can go look it up and, search several different resources. You ain't got to just go with one. Make it make sense. But again, what we decide to do up here is conditioned from what's in here. What's in your heart is going to manifest in your mind. And if you got hatred and bigamy or whatever in your mind and your heart, it's going to manifest to your mind, and then you're going to react on it, especially when there's no consequences. So,
So let me ask y'all this question. So what do y'all think? Why do y'all think that they didn't tie Trump's visit to this situation? Because that's one of the things. The first thing that caught my attention was it took somebody like what we're doing on social media to point out that Trump had just had a speech or something. It was more of a dinner. I'm gonna say like a Raleigh type dinner. But he went and he spoke to the Alabama GOP.
Okay, I think it's smart that they didn't, Mario, because then that's fueling another fire. That's getting distracted again. We need to stick to the subject at hand. The subject at hand is we don't need these men going to jail for defending this black man.
No, that's
you
true.
Start mixing all the political stuff, then you got a whole, because then that way you distract and deter from holding these jokers accountable.
Right.
Now you're blaming their actions on a political party.
And that's my point.
The fact that they did not do that this particular time and spin it and try to deflect in that direction. This is these people's reaction, regardless of who they voted for, what they believe.
Right.
Beyond that, y'all did this, and let's hold you accountable for this thing. Too much attention goes to these political parties. When these people, we ain't gonna meet these people, we ain't gonna talk to these people ain't coming to my house. But any of those given people on that dock could be at my house any given day if I was friends with them and living in Montgomery.
But what my point?
Why they didn't tie it to a political?
No. But what I'm saying is, neither side tied it to Trump. Did y'all notice that?
We giving him too much attention. That's what happened.
That's true. No.
How he got in the White House.
But what I'm saying is, no. But what I'm saying is, there's a hidden message in them not doing it.
That's what I was. Yeah,
it's not. What I'm saying is the fact that we don't need any distractions. But did you notice that neither side?
Because there's an agenda. Trump. Because there's an agenda, and you know that Trump, and also too, I agree with both of y'all.
Right.
I was gonna say distraction. When you said distraction, then I was like, there's a hidden agenda too.
Right. There's a hidden agenda
because of the fact that Trump is running for president again. You understand what I'm saying?
No, it's not even that. It's just that what's going on is both sides are tired of him. They don't even want him in the news anymore. Mm-hmm. They don't want nothing to do with him. It's just like they don't want to tie him to nothing because it's giving him too much attention.
And too much power.
Normally,
that's why I said I'm glad they didn't.
Right. But what I'm saying is there was a hidden agenda by not doing it. And the thing is that now the Republicans and the Democrats are done with Trump and they don't even want to bring him up and use him because everyone knows that Trump is done. Only ones that don't know are the idiots that follow him, but everyone knows he's done. So what I'm saying is for the first time, an incident has happened and Trump's name did not come up in it, even though it falls under the MAGA like agenda or whatever you want to call it. It didn't come up, and it kind of shocked me because it didn't come up. The only reason why I knew about Trump had a rally prior was it was an interview. The mayor of Montgomery was talking, and someone brought up politics, and they asked that question, and I'm like, wow. Throughout this whole time, though, it has never been brought up. Like CNN, Fox News have been playing it real quiet. You haven't seen. It's like you know how it is when there's a storm outside and you suddenly feel that sunlight come through.
Yeah, but it could be the calm before the storm too. My thing is, I think it speaks highly of us in the situation that we're in, where we did not politically tie anything.
Right
on that. And I think that again, because now we can hold this situation. So here's the next thing that comes out of this. Future references, when things are happening, we need to stop politically tying stuff to situations and distracting ourselves, because everybody can't have some people cannot multi-thought. Just like people can't multitask, right. Some people cannot multi-thought. So when you start putting political things into it, people start becoming distracted by the political part of it. I never like to tie political things to situations that have nothing to do with politics. Well, this got to do with just being basic human. And I'm glad we kept it basic human for once.
And that's what I'm saying is that for the first time,
look, him or anybody else political.
Right.
Humans in this moment.
So that's what I'm saying is that for the first time, and ever since this man had came down that escalator, or that stairs or whatever it was that he came down, for the first time, politics weren't involved. If you go back and look at all the things that has happened, when thing happened to him, there was politics. Every bad thing that has happened in the last 6 years dealing with a black victim, it was political. This was the first episode in years where there was no politics involved.
Because what did I say earlier? A lot of times God will use a situation to expose behavior so that we can change behavior.
Right.
So that way, if they didn't use it politically, if they didn't bring him in, then they can really persecute these people to the fullest now, because now it won't be Trump won't be he won't be an excuse. He won't be like a what's the one for
a distraction.
Yeah, he won't be an excuse, you know. So that's
and it won't get mixed in with all the other political things that are happening right now. This is a separate incident, and that's why I said for us, we need to learn how to separate the incidents out so that we're not mixing because see, that's how it gets lost in the sauce. With you start talking about this, then you start talking about that. No, stay focused. We had a man that was jumped. We had some people who had some privilege that they shouldn't have had. Mm-hmm. We just saw this play out last year in court with that rich family here in South Carolina. It's a pattern. It's the same thing as that rich family. So I guarantee you, as they continue to dig with this family, more and more and more is going to come out. Just like the other rich family who had gotten away with all these things. I mean, it was embezzlement, fraud, all kind of murder. I mean, it was like a bad movie, you know. So I think the same thing again. God uses bad situations to expose bad people. We just got to be paying attention.
But this was one of those moments where everything. What I'm saying is, this was like the perfect storm. Because everything happened the right way. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Like Eric said at the very beginning, there was no guns involved. No one died from this incident.
Right.
It was more
butt whoopings, but
right. And then the world saw it for what it was for the first time, with no politics involved.
You can't flip it and say anything.
You can't flip it. Like here it is. You had CNN and Fox News took a back seat and couldn't do nothing, couldn't say nothing. All they could do was just report the news.
I guarantee you, if it was reversed, CNN and Fox News, it'd still be playing over and over and over again. If it was the roles were reversed, guarantee you.
Absolutely. But that's what I'm saying is that that's why I said it was the perfect storm, because people saw the truth. Yeah. Social media took the lead on showing the truth on the instant. You couldn't add to it. You couldn't take away from it. It was straight footage.
Couldn't even commentate it differently. Boom, boom, bam, boom, ooh, yeah, ooh, ooh, yeah.
The narration was on point. They explained. Some lady was on there explaining the whole situation. Hey, they're not supposed to park there. I don't know why they just wouldn't move. And it's just
Get out the way. They were sitting up there singing the song. The whole boat was.
Yes.
So again, you know. So again, I'm like Mario. Every song I kept thinking in my mind, they ended up making a meme with it, and I was here for it, because it turned into a moment, you guys, where, just all jokes aside, where you realize that, oh my God, we still have there's racism, but then you know there's racism. It's kind of like thinking that somebody is doing something to you or being deceitful is one thing to think it's another thing to have the proof. Because remember, we see each other as Black people all the time, but a lot of white people don't have exposure to Black people other than what they see on the news or, you know, what they go through at work. So this was an eye opener for you know, nobody can deny that this wasn't a race issue.
Yep.
Everyone can see it was a white privilege issue. It was just that white privilege did not work in this situation. And it kind of showed it point blank. They were in the wrong. I mean, because even now, like I said, they've been people posting stuff on social media, white people coming out, and they even saying, yeah, they were wrong. They were wrong for what they did. I mean, and it's like, to see that says a lot. That, to me, that's why I said that social media took the lead on this situation, because it was pure truth. There was no political twist to it. There was no media twist to it. It wasn't somebody yelling something stupid off of Fox News. It wasn't nobody from CNN trying to push it to one side. It was completely the perfect.
It wasn't what did the Black man do? It must be a part of the story we did. It was none of that. You were able to go from start to finish and see what you needed to and make an educated make a smart decision about how you view it.
Right. Because
Um,
just
it
think about
was
like
unbelievable, though.
take it when they killed George Floyd. What did they do? They went in and destroyed his whole reputation.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That man got killed. But then
Mhm.
what did they do is they twisted the whole story to make it seem like he deserved to get killed because he was a bad man. I mean,
Yeah.
that whole scenario, you go back, like you said, you go to Trayvon Martin. What did they say about him?
Mhm.
They try to say bad things about him. This is one of the stories that they could
Cannot
not
spin it.
touch. They
Mhm.
couldn't twist it. They couldn't
Nope.
add anything to it. It was just point blank, straight truth, and there was nothing they could do about it but
It
report it.
forced them. It forced them to make a decision as to what to do. You can't say, "Oh, my hands are tied." No, it's right there. The proof is
Right.
in the pudding.
That's why I
You
keep saying.
can't say.
I
You
said
can't
someone
say
before. It's
these
the perfect
people.
storm.
Mhm.
Yeah, you can't
'Cause
say
they-
these people. They pulled out these weapons and people got. You can't say that. You can't say
Mhm.
that. It was obvious. It's inciting a riot. It's that's part of it. Now you got to make a decision. You have to. There ain't no no. You have to. It's right there,
Because here
and
it
it's
is,
been viewed 13 million times.
right, and you're gonna attack a man doing his job and a
Yeah.
16-year-old who's learning how to do the job,
Yeah.
and you're gonna attack them just because you felt like you could get it, you could just violate rules and get away with anything.
Well, I
That
think it's a good lesson for all of us because I found myself saying, well, "What's the rest of the story? What else?" I found myself even saying that, and so this was a good moment to where there was no rest of the story.
right. It
That
was.
was the story.
That's why I say it was the
You know?
perfect storm. It was the
Mm-hmm.
perfect storm because there was nothing that the media could do to
Nope.
twist it or to do anything, say anything, or bring out anything. They couldn't bring out nothing. The only thing they can do is point out more that this family has gotten away with more bad things than what they should have.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
So
it's a
that's
repeat. It's this same story is on repeat. It's on a loop.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. This is the part where we get to say too, if they try to convict any of those other people, pause. All these high profile lawyers and civil rights advocates, they need to show up down there if they try to prosecute
right.
these people. And we need to stand up and there needs to be laws in place because, like I said, this privilege part is on a vicious loop. We
Yes.
Yeah.
keep
Yes.
seeing this over and over again.
No.
It needs to stop. That's the part that needs to be narrowed down, and we need to put some things in place, period. Like, stop denying that there's racism. We still have a race problem in America. It
Mm-hmm.
still exists. And we need to stop racism in our own race, racism outside of our race. We need to deal with the whole big thing. It's a whole situationship. Look, because I still think about George Floyd and how they had to stand there and just record because those people were afraid of being killed or harmed themselves. Imagine the irony of you having to watch somebody's life leave their body and you can't do nothing.
True.
Just, I mean, that would have created PTSD and all kinds of stuff
And
with it.
that's what they wanted. They control by fear. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? They control by fear because they realize that a gun is gonna you can't outbeat a gun. So
Right.
you're gonna stand here and
Or
you're gonna watch
taser.
us, yeah, watch us treat y'all black people like this, and y'all ain't gonna be able to do nothing about it. Nah.
Right.
You know?
But here's the thing, though: if it's not right of God or Buddha or whoever, guess what? It has an expiration date.
Bingo.
If it's not right, it has an expiration date. People don't understand that.
Mhm.
If Mario is afraid of me and I'm building off of that fear, guess what? He's gonna wake up one day. No, I'm not gonna do it. No,
Yep.
it has an expiration date, and when he say that no, I'm not. I don't see what I tell people is I don't condone violence, but guess what? Violence is a necessary evil.
Just like conflict.
Yep,
Mhm.
I don't condone it, but it is a necessary evil. Some people gonna take you there. It's gonna happen. Now, when I say violence, I don't mean just putting your hands on somebody. I'm talking about
Ooh, excuse me.
the cussing the mug out,
Verbal
putting them in their
assault.
place,
Mhm.
or letting them know you
Mhm.
going outside of yourself.
Yep.
Cause you know, like y'all women say, I'm classy, but guess what? there's another side of me too.
Mhm.
Yep.
That's what the thing is. Like I said, by this being the perfect storm, one of the things that you notice, even after this happened, did you notice how the police stuck to what was right and what was wrong?
Because
They had
they,
to.
yeah,
Yeah.
they had to because
But
they played a part in it too.
Yep.
but see, that's what I'm saying is that it was just like that's the first time
Mm-hmm.
the police, the three warrants came out. I was shocked that it was just for the three white gentlemen. I
Well,
hate to say
Mario,
that, but I was
that's what
shocked.
I'm saying. Go back and look. Had those dudes not had that family, not had that history, all of that had to play out how it did
Mm-hmm.
Right.
for that moment, because that moment would not have gotten those people would have been investigated completely different had they handled those people when they parked the golf cart in the hotel lobby.
Mm-hmm.
See, because now they like, oh, we didn't take care of something. Oh boy, this about to be a disaster because we didn't take care of something. They know they're guilty. They know they didn't take. They knew they hadn't been handling that right.
Yep.
And like you said, it's a never-ending cycle. If you look at the ones that have caught up and crashed and burned, it's the never-ending cycle. Once they hit the news, you automatically know there's something behind it. Because
It's a
guess
house
what?
of cards.
Human beings, we are creatures of habit. So if you see something like that, they didn't wake up the day and decide, I'm gonna jump on somebody at the port. It's an accumulation. Your life is an accumulation of all the decisions that you make.
That you've made. Yep.
Good or bad, good, bad, indifferent. Guess what? That accumulation gonna end up being a good thing or bad. In this case, it's a bad thing. And then once that happens, your accumulation is gonna come to the forefront. Everything that you did, everything that you've done, everything you're going to do, because guess what? It would have escalated if it wasn't for that. If it wasn't for social media. The next time, it could have been one of their own, because you can obviously they don't like authority.
Right.
Obviously, they don't like
Right.
authority.
I don't. Yeah.
It's going to escalate.
That's why I keep saying it was the perfect storm.
If you look at the history, look at the guy that killed the protesters. Look at his history. He has a history.
Oh, like I said, stuff gonna keep coming out.
Yes,
This is just
yes.
they've opened the floodgates on that family. There is no.
Mhm.
It's like I keep using that family down here in South Carolina. That the attorneys, they thought they were untouchable. Well, they have been for decades.
Oh,
Decades, not just
you talking about the murder?
Murdoch or whatever their
Yeah,
names
the
were.
murder.
That
like
family had
Yeah,
been untouchable for decades, not from generation to generation, untouchable. So, like I said, what was that? I think I heard some of the roosters come to roost, or the however they said it. Yeah. So that's all that happened here, and it is like Mario keeps saying it, perfect storm. It couldn't have happened. I hate that it happened, but it couldn't have happened at a more opportune time.
Yeah.
Because it shuts down anybody who goes off and is hateful at this point. They have no excuse.
Right.
Nope.
Because we should unite over this situation, because it, like Eric said, it was right and it was wrong. Period. Like there was no gray areas.
Nope.
Yeah, there was no gray. And the thing is, what I'm looking at, justice was served twice. They got
those butt beatings.
They got their ass kicked, and then they turn around and they got the punishment. So it's like and the thing is, I keep going back, and that's why I say it was the perfect storm, because when they came out and they said there was only 3 warrants, and they showed who those warrants were for, I couldn't believe it. I was like, really? That's it? And then they said the dude with the chair was being looked for and questioned. I was like, something must be wrong with this. Hold up, did I hear that right? They're not going to arrest this man? I was like, okay. So it just shows that's why I said it was like the perfect storm, because the way you thought it was going to turn out, it didn't turn out that way.
Yeah. So
And then justice was served on both levels.
yes, it was. Because guess what? You just scratching the surface. Go ahead and do it. And go ahead and peel back the layers of that onion. You're going to see a whole lot of stuff going on with that family. A whole lot.
Oh, yeah, it ain't over. It's just getting
Oh,
started.
no, it's not. It's not. Just wait. Just wait.
Because they were too comfortable. Anytime that somebody's that comfortable, no.
They have something to hide.
Because they just ain't never been held. And that goes back to when we was talking a few weeks ago about accountability. When there's no accountability, it's like the wild, wild west. Look, just run it loose.
Yeah.
But this has been a good one. Good.
Yes, it was.
Yes, it was. Because I'm telling you, like yesterday, we were done a show yesterday. Boy, I'll be bouncing all over in my chair. I actually had a moment to calm down for a second. So I was like, okay, I was gonna be okay on this one. But that's why my mind is, as I kept watching, is I started to look, and I'm a social media person. I started to look at the whole scenario.
Yes.
On the media interaction on it. And it was shocking. CNN didn't jump into it. Fox didn't jump into it. They kind of like played in the backfield and only reported as the police reported stuff. They didn't get caught up into it like social media did. They waited a whole 2 days before they even said anything about the situation.
Because you know what they did? They waited for social media because they know how powerful social media. They're not going to tell you that, but what they did was they monitored social media. This ain't the time.
Make sure it was true.
Yep, no, this ain't the time. This ain't the time. Okay, now we can piggyback off the police and we can say something. Because
that's why I said NBC. I'm telling you, NBC was right there the entire time from the beginning to the end. And I was just shocked because they were reporting exactly how it was being reported in the social media.
Well, so, you know, the two networks that you're mentioning that kind of fell back are coming off the heels of large lawsuits too.
Yes.
So that's the other thing you've got to look at. They just come off of the heels of some very large lawsuits that they had to pay out for reporting false truths. You know how that is too. Somebody hits you in the pocket, you're gonna think a little twice about. And then let's be real, we got to go ahead and put this out here. We coming off of that fake story with the girl in Alabama. So, you know, people are, again, I knew there would be fallout and a domino effect from that. People are going to be reluctant to just report the first thing that they see.
Right.
Because of that foolery we coming off of too, you know. So it's a lot that has happened over this summer. Let's just take the summer. Look.
Yeah. You're right.
We outside again. Look, we back outside.
Ooh, Jesus.
But that's what I said. I think, like I said, this was, to me, it was a perfect storm, perfect moment. It reflected how things can be such a great thing when we come together as people.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, it was a proud moment. I'm telling you, you know, it was like going to see Black Panther for the 8th time. Because when Black Panther came out, I went and saw it at least 6 times at the movie theater.
Good Lord.
So me, I know like this, and like constantly watching it, like every 10, 30 minutes, bam, watch it again. I gotta watch this video again. Bam, I gotta watch the video. Because it was just a moment of just we're finally getting there. We're finally breaking through and understanding that we need to stand up and do what's right.
Yeah.
Yep. We need to.
Well, we could, because like Eric said, it wasn't no guns and no tasers.
Right.
They couldn't twist it. They couldn't say nobody was resisting. They couldn't say he had no reason to. That was a straight old all natural butt whooping.
But the one thing I did notice, I'm not sure if y'all noticed it or not, on the third angle from the video, when the guys went and they had the angle shaped to where you could see the guys on the boat grabbing the boats and trying to pull it back.
We'll get them.
Did you notice that after they had that big fight where they beat up the dude in the red shorts real bad, and he jumped in the water, and then they beat up the little boy and he jumped in the water. Did you notice how the man ran to the police officer, the white police officer, and the white police officers didn't even
Didn't even buzz.
Yeah.
But see, what he didn't understand because he was busy fighting was all those police officers had been standing back with their arms folded watching.
Yeah,
They had already knew who they were going to arrest and what they were going to do.
We're gonna get that one. We're gonna get that one. We're gonna get that. Cause see,
kudos to that police department. Wonder has that police department had some additional training or something? Because they were just too calm in the situation.
They were.
Right.
Well,
I wonder what kind of training they've had.
Because it was forced a decision. If they talked about a person charged before, they had no choice but to stand there because this is somebody that they excused before. Because this is what I love about it altogether. It is forcing a decision. It's not 6 months from now. It's not a year from now. It forced a decision, and that's what we need to do. We need to stand together and force decisions. And we do that by showing up for each other. If Tisha landlord not fixing nothing, we need to stand up. We need to go over there and talk intelligently to him. This is the landlord-tenant laws, and right now you're in violation of this, and this. You need to go fix it. Well, who are you? Well, I'm lawyer so and so from this and this and this, or we know the law, and that's how. Cause see, we're not in a time of fight no more. We got it's pockets. It's all about the pockets. You gotta hit them in the pockets for them to listen to you. So you take $1 out their pocket. Oh yeah, you want to talk? What do you want to talk about?
But you know what? That's one of the things that even the interview. When y'all noticed in one video clip, the police officer came up and was interviewing the one that was video recording what happened. The police officer was very calm, polite. It was like he wasn't demanding. He wasn't rude.
Talking about the black guy.
Yeah. He came up and, well, will y'all be okay doing the witness? I mean, he said, yeah, he was smiling. I mean,
he was like, he said, anybody got a video?
I mean, it was just like, that's why I say it was the perfect storm because everything was like, it was a bad situation.
It's right there.
But everything, all the systems that were supposed to work
function
properly. There wasn't no mishandling of somebody. No police officer didn't jump on the wrong person.
Not even the brother with the chair. He still got handled with grace.
He got handled with grace. I mean, and the thing is, when the white lady tried to come up, they threw her to the side. I mean, that was like perfect.
Wrong back. Yeah.
Like we already know you just you're part of the crew that started all this mess. I mean, that's pretty much what I was like making up my own narrative, but it's like, get the hell away from me. You're the one who started this. I mean, that's pretty much what was going on.
And can I say this, Mario Tish? And it's so amazing how that she felt like she was so privileged that when they saw a black man in handcuffs, she was going to come over there and still try to be the victim when they know, you know what I'm saying? She's so privileged where she think that, okay, now I can go over here because they roughhousing him, so I'm gonna just tell them my side of the story. He was like, girl, bye. We know you the one that, you know what I'm saying? We know you was part of that. She really felt like she can go over there and say something. Come on. Really? See, he only got handcuffed, I'm sorry, because of the chair. That's the only reason why he got handcuffed.
And see, there's two takeaways from this. First, right, it shows the cops in a good light. Now, first, what it shows is we got them to not press charge this time. And then the second one is now we can go after this family because we did give them a chance the first time. Now we can go ahead and go through and go do arrest warrants and do all this other stuff because it's time. They done got away for too long.
Yeah.
So, well, let me ask you. Now look, this is the part that like later on down the road where we'll probably see it in the news. What do you think is going to happen to this family?
We don't know because we're not going to know. You know why? Because it's not going to be televised.
Yeah.
Because of who it is.
I'm my prayer, and I'm hoping that Mario that there is some repercussions because if they don't do anything, you know how they say what happens in the dark comes to light. Because if something don't happen to them, it's gonna come to light. But guess why? Because they're gonna act the fool again. Because like you said, when they stole that golf cart and they didn't press, they told them not to press charges. they get, it's just like a child that's cutting up, just constantly doing things, and the parent keep going to defend this child. That child will keep on doing the same stuff. You see what I'm saying? And it doesn't matter if I witnessed my nephew getting his behind whooped by his parents because he acting up. So if they don't do something, it's gonna show.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, but what I'm saying is, like, yeah, I mean that part. I'm not worried about that. I think justice is going to be served like it's supposed to. But what do you think is going to happen to them in general? Like after you get your butt kicked on national TV, on national social media,
I think they're gonna kind of like really think about now acting a fool.
I think they're going to go into hiding. I think they're going to go into hiding because you know you got humiliated. I mean, you just got completely destroyed on social media. Think about it like this. Think of every single joke, every single thing that has been made about this family getting their butt kicked. It's like you even in your KKK buddies or they're gonna disown you because you got your butt kicked.
And plus, you know the rule. If it makes the news, something got to happen. So it done made the news. It done went viral. So they're gonna get what they're supposed to have gotten a long time ago. They're probably gonna get banned. More likely, they're gonna be banned from ever coming back to there.
Right.
They're gonna go into hiding. They're gonna run. They're probably gonna move out of Montgomery.
Well, that's why you know what. That's why I said they were even joking about the man's store that talking about said grand opening, and then someone joking said it better be grand closing because after all this, you ain't gonna have no more. I mean, it's just like it's just like I mean, it's just like this is something that this is a history moment that this family will never recover from.
No.
They will never recover from it.
No, they won't.
That's why I said to me, it's like the justice behind this situation is gotten to like it's so much justice that was been served to this family to where I'm tickled to death. Because I know for a fact they ain't gonna be able to bounce back from it. That little store that he got in Selma, that store that he got in Selma, that's you might as well go ahead and close this store. Go ahead and close it because
you can keep your little white dollars now.
Well, I'm proud of us too because nobody went down there and looted it or anything. They just let them be. The only time, and that's the other thing that needs to be brought. As long as we're getting justice, there's no additional repercussion.
Exactly, that's all we ever wanted.
Right.
And there's no reason to loot because they got their behind whooped.
They got what they needed. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, my thing is that's why I was saying is that there was so much justice in this situation. I mean, it's just like I'm just tickled to death with so much justice because no matter which way they twist this, no matter what happens, they will never recover from this situation. I mean, just their embarrassment. You got your butt kicked on social media.
It was one of the perfect states too, because a lot of our history happened, our bad history for us where we were not cheated justifiably or injustice or inhumane in Alabama. So again, look at how things work out.
Perfect storm. That's why I said it's like, and that's the thing that blew my mind. Of all places, this went down in Alabama. That everyone knows. I think Tennessee, I believe, got Alabama beat, but Alabama's like number 2 for being the most racist state possible. So Tennessee is like number 1. Alabama's like number 2. It went down. Everything that could possibly happen the right way happened.
Yep.
These people are the laughing stock of social media.
And your own people.
I mean, you know how when we see those videos where Karen gets what she deserves and Kevin gets what he deserves. This is like the ultimate video to you got served exactly what you deserve and plus some.
And you got to remember too, hey, they got friends and they got friends too. They ain't gonna never let them move. They ain't gonna let them forget it. They ain't gonna let them forget it.
So they're gonna like, you remember the time y'all got your butt kicked? You remember when you got thrown in the ocean?
We don't let your kind up in here.
So that's why I say it's like
We
that's why I
don't get
say
our butts whooped. We whoop butt. You got your butt whooped. You can't come up in here. Sorry.
that's why I keep saying it was the perfect storm. They got served justice. No matter what happens from here on out, they will always be remembered of the family that tried to use white privilege and it fell. It blew up in their face.
Yep.
Mhm. Yep. Well,
Yeah. Well,
another
All
great
right.
show.
Another
Yes,
great
indeed.
one.
I got know like next week. I guess we were going to talk about control, but this happened, went down, so we had to change it up a little bit. So I guess next week we'll talk about control.
Mhm.
Um, and and that one, and that's going to be a good. That was going to be a good one too, because I know before all this happened, we were looking at the different things, and we was kind of leading to it from the one we did before. But we're just going to go a little bit more into detail about control, because technically, this is a perfect example of what we were going to talk about, but
Mm-hmm.
on a very higher level. So
Mhm.
next week we'll come back and we'll be able to talk about control. And ladies and gentlemen, I hope y'all enjoy the show. I know to me this was a great moment in history because it reflects what we can do when we work together.
Mhm.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Good night,
Good
everyone.
Good
night.
night.
All right, good night, everyone.
Cheer
All right, we'll
fingers.
see y'all later, peoples.
Later.
Later, Gators.